Hallo miteinander, I'm Gash86 and this is Nitori Box. What we have here is a very recent puzzle platformer starring Nitori Kawashiro, the inventive Kappa. It was made by Birdstrike, who I have never heard of before, but that needn't mean anything. There's a first time for everything. So, we've got some storytelling going on. From the little that I can deduce of it, Nitori's sleeping in her room while a mysterious burglar is scrounging her things. It's Marisa Kirisame, of course. You would think that at least Nitori would be safe from her thievery, but it seems she's been skipping therapy sessions again, and her kleptomania knows no bounds. Of course, we have to chase after her now. And with that, we have the basic premise for our adventure. Nitori has a good few abilities. She can use her extending arm to grab objects and enemies. She can throw them forward. She can of course jump. And while she is holding something, she can give herself a double jump by releasing it in midair. Apart from that, she also has a hovering ability, very useful. The following rooms will address this one more closely. Stages happen to be relatively short in this game, or at least they would be, but you have to collect 3 keys in every single one, or you won't be able to exit them. Now, when you enter a room with a key inside, Nitori will automatically detect it, but grabbing that key is a whole different story, and you have to figure that out. Not this one though. This one was very simple to get. Because of the radar, you're never quite clueless on where to go. Speaking of items to pick up, you must have been noticing all the big and small screws we've been collecting. They are the game's main collectible. And what do they do? Well, I can't really tell you because I don't know. But they exist to be picked up, so we shall do just that. Now, I don't know about you, but this game is giving me a very strong sense of familiarity. Could it be that it has drawn inspiration from somewhere? Well, I can see no similarities there whatsoever, so I guess I'm just being silly. Please excuse my temporary insanity. Nevertheless, we have cleared stage 1, so we can continue our trek over mossy stones, with a nice calm river in the background, the smashed bodies of Kedama marking our trail. You need some good imagination for that last one. But yeah, those Kedama, I feel sorry for them. Sometimes. They might not have any facial expressions, but I can feel the despair every time I pick them up. Please, ma'am, I have a wife and 3 kids, splat! Getting back to friendlier things, this room introduces the first mild switch puzzles of the game. Nitori may only have few abilities of her own, but the game gradually introduces new objects for you to interact with, so it can reach quite some depth. Whenever something new arises, there will usually be a signpost nearby to give you vague hints about it. Unfortunately, the game is still untranslated, so we're just going to skip these signposts. It will only take our flow away. Not that this game has gotten very speedy or hectic so far, nope. Everything is nice and relaxing. Even the enemies aren't very threatening to us. But you shouldn't underestimate them too much. Nitori only has 3 hits before she explodes into power-ups. So don't be a klutz. As you just saw, not only did one of our hearts disappear, but Nitori's pudgy, determined face has turned into a pudgy, shaken face. This puzzle right here is the first slightly clever one. At first it may seem like you just want to put the box on the switch, but instead you must use it to block the Kedama so that it keeps pushing and releasing the switch. And that takes care of the second stage. When you've beaten a level like that, you can actually replay it in speedrun mode. To do so, you must press left or right before selecting that stage. What speedrun mode does, it makes all the screws in the level disappear. The game will take your time for finishing the level, and finally it'll make it a little bit harder by making it devoid of any health pickups. For this video, I won't be demonstrating speedrun mode. We're gonna stick to our simple standard mode with its nice music, because speedrun mode would take away that music. And speaking of that track, it's a remix of the Gensokyo the Gods Loved, Nitori's stage theme. Now that is a really popular song, ranks very high in the polls. Nitori is one of those very rare characters who has a far more popular stage theme than her boss theme. Nothing against Candid Friend, but there's quite a gap between those two songs. The room we have just entered simply seems to adore helicopter tomatoes and trampoline mushrooms. It's not always easy to get past them, especially if you want to collect all the screws, and we do, and we shall. However, I've been failing quite miserably so far, but maybe third time's the charm, maybe we can get it now? Yes, we can! When I'm seeing these tomatoes, I like to imagine they have little seedling pilots in them, brave individuals who risk their very lives for the great vegetable empire. Flying over here should get us closer to the first key of the level. And speaking of keys, you might have noticed a dark outline on the lower part of the screen. That means that there is a special key in this level. What does it do? Well, we're gonna find out once we get to it. It's time to face a new type of enemy, Alice's dolls who carry around bombs. I wonder what Alice's thought process was in that matter. I'm gonna let my dolls carry around high explosives all over the country. Surely that is a safe and productive activity and everyone will like and respect me for it. Yes, Alice, real clever. Way to go. Once you've mugged a bomb from one of the dolls, you can use it for all kinds of things. Destroying blocks is just one of the many uses we will find for them. We may have just picked up the key from this room, but there is still something else that we want to get from here. It's over here, past more trampolines and tomato copters. It's this key. This is the special key that I was talking about earlier. It doesn't open up the exit door, but it opens a door in the level itself. In this case, it's actually completely optional. You don't have to use it at all, but if you don't, you're just going to waste time by going all the way back through the level, when you could just go this way and take the handy shortcut that it enables you to get. Over here we can not only get the third key, but we can also find the door to exit the level. The upcoming level is the last one to be featured in the web trial version of the game, which is the one that we're playing right now. I may have already ordered the full version of the game, but for the purposes of this video, and that is to just give you a brief impression of the game, the web trial version is all that we need. Stage 4 itself features a good few tricky rooms, the first one being this right here. It teaches you how to use bombs to remotely press switches, but before we do any of that, we must have the leftmost block active. Only then can we place a bomb next to this switch here, grab a Kedama, and then race the bomb's timer to exit the room. We need that Kedama to make the final jump. This room took me a good few minutes to clear on my first time, but it's not the hardest by far. And neither is the second room of the stage. Your first instinct will probably be to go for that big screw in your infinite greed, but don't. You will not be able to get out of that hole, and you will have to bring up the menu to reset the room. Instead, you want to stop one of the boxes with the big block, and then throw the other one in at the opposite side. That way you can get the screw and press the switch. It's a pretty simple solution, but the next room, oh, that one gave me quite some trouble. I think my biggest problem with the room was just my inability to read Japanese, because it introduces a new object that I first had to figure out what to even do with. But before we get to that, we must raise another bomb's timer, after putting it on a pressure plate. Obviously, once the bomb blows up, there will be nothing left to put weight on that pressure plate. We just barely messed up here, so we're gonna have to try again, unfortunately. The transparent platforms in this room disappear shortly after you've stepped on them, which is not actually a big problem because you're not allowed to dawdle anyway. Once we've made it over here in time, we can free up this orange box. Now what might we be able to do with an orange box? Maybe you want to install it on your computer? No you don't. You're confusing it with a different orange box, sorry. What that box can actually do is, once you blow it up with a bomb, it will expand the blast into the direction that it points. And that enables you to hit a certain switch in this room that is enclosed by walls. This one. It opens up the exit to the room. It also frees up a Kedama so that you don't have to race another bomb timer to get over there. Okay, are you ready for the final room of the stage? It's not actually that bad. Your objective here is to put a bomb on the moving platform and then use the switches to guide it all the way to the right, where it can explode an orange box and the barricade behind it. That is the intended solution for this room. However, I didn't know of this one at the time I recorded this, so I just went the I don't give a damn way and just went along with the bomb itself. Hey, whatever works. And that's it. We have beaten the demo of Nitori Box. This was a cute and clever game, I have to admit. I hope that it can keep up the pace and that it doesn't run out of ideas later, but so far I'm pretty optimistic. So, I'm Gash86, this was Nitori Box. I hope you enjoyed this little variation, and next time we will continue to play Metroid 2. Bis bald!